Hey everyone, Robert the Bruce here again. I'm very excited because today's video is the definitive guide to the AC-130. A lot of people asking me questions about this new awesome weapon vehicle that you get to use in the downloadable content. And I'm covering everything on it, the A to Z on this video. I hope that after watching this, you will have learned a few things that will help you own the battlefield.
Yes.
First off, let's take a quick look at all the things we're going to cover at the sections in this video. First up, how to get the AC-130, AC-130 weapons and countermeasures, using the AC-130 as a mobile spawn point, the AC-130 recipe for success, and the final tips at the end. If at any time you feel like you're done with that section, you got it all covered, and you want to move on, there'll be a button in the top left corner. Just click that. It'll automatically jump you to the next relevant section. First things first, how to get the AC-130. This clip is actually in a previous video of mine because it covered it exactly, so we're just going to put that in here again. Every map has a point with the AC-130 icon next to it. On this map, it's C. Whoever captures and holds that point gets the AC-130 in the air. Now, it should be noted there can only be one AC-130 up at any time, so if the enemy has theirs up, even if you capture the point, you've got to go shoot them down before yours will then appear. Now, once you've got it captured, it will appear just like any other spawn point on your map when you're trying to spawn in as a gunship. Click that and you're in. Next up, AC-130 weapons and countermeasures. First, we'll take a general look at what all it holds. It'll hold two players. Each player gets a primary gun and an anti-aircraft turret. They can deploy flares independently of each other, and the flares take 20 seconds to recharge for each player individually. Now, we'll cover that a little bit more later on in depth. Starting off, though, we'll look at the 25mm cannon, or the smaller gun, if you will. Holds 30 rounds free after reload, has zoom optic capability, and is really effective against infantry and even small vehicles. The other gunner seat gets the 105mm cannon. It is the bigger gun, has 1 round for us to reload, thermal optics, and is really effective against basically any ground unit. Now, in these first clips, you're going to be seeing I'm shooting the 25mm cannon, as you can see up in the top right corner. Mostly you want to go after infantry with this. If you see a quad bike, you know, that's great, tear it up. A low-flying helicopter, yes, you can mess them up. You can take them down. Most of the time it's not going to happen with this gun. Really focus on taking out infantry with it. Now, you see here in this clip, I'm not leading my target with the big 105mm cannon. Anytime you're going up against a vehicle on the move, you've got to lead your target. You've got a definite delay before your round hits the ground there. And all the way up until that guy hops out and is just running around on his own, I'm not hitting him. Now there, I'm leading my target, one-shot kill, not a problem at all. So keep that in mind when you're shooting the big gun. It's effective against anything on the ground. First few clips, I'm just tearing up some infantry with it, and it's almost too easy with this thing. That's why the AC-130 can be so dominating. The 105mm cannon, if I have my choice, is definitely the one I choose to hop in with, just because it destroys everything. I love this one. You get all kinds of great double and triple kills when you find packs of infantry running along together, and if you just put that round somewhere close to them, they're going down. You don't really have to lead infantry a whole lot. They don't really run fast enough. If they're at a dead sprint in one direction, you might want to lead them just a tad, but most of the time, put the run close, and it'll take them out of the equation. No problem at all. With tanks and other vehicles, 2 to 3 rounds will destroy one completely, depending on what it is and how directly you're hitting it. You can get these rounds fired off so quickly, it reloads pretty fast. Most guys don't really stop and look and realize how damaged they are and get out of their vehicle in time, and you'll get the vehicle destruction points as well as the actual kill. So again, the 105mm cannon's a beast. Definitely the most powerful of the two guns on the AC-130. Next up, we're looking at the anti-aircraft turret. Both front and back gunners, the small gun and big gun, have an option to hop in an anti-aircraft turret. One's on the rear of the plane, one's on the front of the plane. You definitely have to lead your targets. If a helicopter is stupid enough just to hover right in front of you, obviously you don't, but most of the time you're dealing with jets. They're moving quickly, and you gotta lead them. If both turrets are working together, you got a much better chance of taking out the air stuff around you But even so, if you're by yourself or if the other guy's not paying attention in his turret, you still want to get up there and do some work. You switch to it just like you would switch weapons in like a normal air vehicle. You switch between the small and big guns just like you would switch seats in a normal vehicle. Next up, we're looking at flares. Like I said before, each gunner has their own set of flares, and they do take 20 seconds to reload, but it sends out a whole big pack of flares, so really if you just hit it anytime close to when the missile is launched at you, it will deter the missile. So they're very effective flares. It's not like the choppers or the jets where half the time it doesn't really feel like they work. These seem like they work very, very well. There's a little note there for you, even though I basically already mentioned that. This clip, though, after that note, is just to show you that the gunner and I were working well. We were communicating together. He's another Yesh member, and he was deploying his flares first. We talked about it. Somebody on the ground there is trying to lock on and take us down. By the time they reload and relock onto us again, then I deploy my flares, and by the time all that's done, we get out of range. But even if we had still been in range, he was about to have his flares back again. So even if you're not having some air support, the flares can really save you. Next up, we're talking about the AC-130 as a mobile spawn point. Here on the spawn screen, you'll see gunship paradrop as an option. Even if the gunship is full, you can always choose this and parachute out of it. Now, if you look down at the mini-map there, you'll see where the AC-130 is that you're about to spawn out of. Pay attention to that. Not only does it need to be near a point that's actually helpful, but you need to make sure that you're going to be able to get out of the out-of-bounds zone, because usually it's flying in an out-of-bounds area. So as soon as you get in, you got to know what direction you're facing and be ready to deploy your chute at the right moment to get you out of that kill zone before the 10 seconds is up. Now here I knew this was an uncaptured point. It would help our team, so I bailed out near it, capturing this point pretty cut and dry. But don't just jump in it without paying attention to anything. Next thing you know, you'll be back at your own deployment, and you got a long hike ahead of you. Next tip we're looking at is the recipe for success. Now basically this just boils down to teamwork, just like anything in Battlefield does. If you're the only gunner in the AC-130, you've got no air support, it's basically a waste of time. You're going to be very easy to shoot down. The one pop of flares that you get is not really going to do much of anything to hold back the enemy. If you got two gunners but still no air support, you might have some decent success. If the enemy is not really focused too much on you, or if they're not very good, you might be able to stay up for a while with your flares, and both of you can do some work before you finally get shot down. But you're still most likely going to get shot down, especially if they're really gunning for you. You don't stand a chance. Now, if you've got two gunners plus air support, your own choppers and jets flying up there defending you, total domination. You can rock out spawn points, take out all the enemy ground units, tanks, infantry, whatever. You can assist the other jets and helicopters shooting down the enemy air stuff. Really, really a powerful combination. Now here's the final tips to wrap up the video. A few things to send you off with that I've got some questions on. Number one, the AC-130s do not regenerate health, but they also don't lose it when they're on fire. You'll see here I stick down at 2% for a long time. It's obviously not coming back, but I'm also not blowing up. So, if it looks like the enemy got shot down right at the very end before you died, or if they just abandoned and stopped coming after you, stay up there. You might as well. Next point, you cannot land on top of the AC-130, so don't try and be cute and parachute out on the enemy one. C4 or torch it or something, it's not going to work, you're going to die. Don't try. Lastly, Armored Shield is a great map for the AC-130, especially starting out. There's no enemy jets, and in my own personal opinion, I think it's an easy way to get up there and kind of get your feet wet using this new weapon. Thanks so much for watching. That wraps up the video. If you've got any questions about the AC-130, feel like I covered everything, but you may still have a question. Throw it in the comments below. I'll try to answer those if I see them. Got a subscribe button on the screen. If you'd like to subscribe, just go ahead and click that. And lastly, I usually say only rookies camp the enemy spawn, but I gotta be honest with you. When the AC-130 is hovering over the enemy spawn, it's pretty tempting to toss a few shells down there.